Yo! Video games.
What up, dudes, and welcome back to the YoVideogames podcast. I'm Matt.
And I'm Andrew.
And once again, thank you to all our generous patrons who've kept us going for over 300 episodes.
Yeah, if you're interested in becoming a patron at any level, please check out patreon.com/YoVideogames podcast. Dude of the week is Jamester. Thank you, Jamester.
Thank you.
Now, I picked him at random, but he was nice to me in the comments of the Stars pilot, and I am not above flattery, so...
Yeah.
Also, dude of the week because of that. Saw you in the crowd, was like, hell yes. Speaking of the Stars pilot, that is out now on Cosblade's YouTube, COSBLADE. That's the Stars. It's Raccoon City. Sorry, Resident Evil prequel to the Mansion incident. Takes place 2 years before the outbreak and is sort of a build-up. It's Mike Young's.
Yeah, our Wesker.
Yeah, our Wesker from Assist Me.
Mm-hmm.
It's his baby, and it's the first time I've had to memorize real long-ass lines in years and years and years, but I also directed it, and we did everything ourselves. It's lit, shot, edited, everything. It's just me and him during the pandemic. We did it together, all together. Tema, who... everyone knows from Assist Me Too, also helped on that. She did the death makeup. And
nice.
She also helped with some of the camera work. I should give her more credit, actually. She did a lot. She did a shitload, actually. So it was me. It was the three of us, really. But anyway, we also have...
When it's small productions, you wear many hats.
Yeah, and many different pairs of pants. And you know what helps on a small production is really nice boxers. That leads into...
Oh my God! Have you been wearing? Have you been wearing this? Oh my God! They are comfortable, aren't they?
Super, dude. I've been doing moving for the last 4 days, and 2 of the days I wore Manscaped boxes. They sent me larges, but they are so fucking comfortable. And I kept one in the box because the box is kind of nice.
Yeah, it is.
It's premium, guys. But more importantly, they still have the premium ultra smooth package. And since it's summer, you want to avoid having swamp ass. Now, personally, I like this thing for the taint, but if you're the type of person who's going to brave shaving your ass crack and or ballsinis, this is great for that, and you will avoid monkey butt.
And actually, I used it. The exfoliant is an exfoliant, and then I kind of had to remind myself very quickly after I put a little dab in my hand. I went, "Oh, exfoliant." So it's a little it's grainy, right?
Yeah.
Right. So, but it's really good at cleaning your pores and all that shit.
I wouldn't jerk off with it, is all I'm saying.
Yeah, this is not something you want to lube up for your lonely night sessions or whatever. But yeah, that's pretty good. And then the shaving gel, I forget if it has a specific name, but the Manscaped crop shaving gel.
Well, I've got it right here. It's the crop gel.
Crop gel. All right, I'm right on the money. It is that one's definitely it's a little stickier. It's not just soap, right? But it really does actually give you a really smooth shave. After you put it on, you go slow.
I put a replacement.
They have a lot. They have a lot of grips on the blade that comes with it. So you go slow. And you scrape, wash, rinse, repeat. It gives you a really shiny, smooth finish.
And I've seen his balls, guys. I can tell you for sure.
Golden orbs. They are shiny golden orbs at the end there.
If you're and again, it's summer, so it's going to help out. But if you're interested in checking this out, or the Lawnmower 4.0, or the Performance Package, please check out manscaped.com. Use our code YoVG, all caps, for 20% off and free shipping worldwide. That's manscaped.com. Our code is YoVG, all caps, for 20% off and free shipping worldwide.
Yeah, and again, if you're not feeling super adventurous, the boxers they sell are excellent. Are really excellent. You're not going to get a better boxer at a store, I don't think. right now, and I just went out of focus.
You fucked everything up. You ruined everything. Let's start it over from
Yeah.
the top.
Okay, so we're doing this a little late because we knew that there was going to be a Sony State of Play on this Thursday, and it turned out to be a really good call because, like, I'm gonna be
good
honest.
Stuff. Some good
This
stuff
was
got.
I feel like this was a big win for Sony. Sony hasn't had a big win from a State of Play or E3 for a very long time, and this was damn near E3 2015 levels of win level when they did Final Fantasy VII Remake, Shenmue 3, and Last Guardian, and only one of those turned out well. Yeah, I said it. Oh,
The Last Guardian is a masterpiece.
For headaches.
Oof.
With that frame rate. So this was a big win for them, but it's I say that because I'm old. This is a big win if you're a gamer weeb from the 90s. Because it's Resident Evil, it's Street Fighter, it's Final Fantasy, and it's some weird loot ass looking dating sim game on top of it.
I knew we were gonna crack jokes about the dating sim game.
God. But anyways,
R2 to hold hands.
But again, the big three, you know, this was like, it was kind of funny because it was almost like Sony retaking their you know, what they're known for. You know, they were known for Resident Evil and Street Fighter, you know, back in the and Final Fantasy. So they're like taking back their sort of crown jewels, if you will, you know, after they've been in Smash Brothers, because God knows they can't do a crossover fighter to their life. Yeah, Sappers sucked.
Ooh.
So yeah, this was a big win for Sony, I feel. And there was other stuff there too. It wasn't just that. I mean, they had VR2 stuff.
This is probably the best VR display they've had in a while.
Yeah, and it was like chunky VR games. You know, you got RE8 getting a VR edition.
Yeah.
There'll be VR2 modes in RE4 remake. There's the Horizon VR game, which the problem with VR games, you're watching it on a stream, which is a compressed video compressed on streaming of a 2D image. So like that Call of the Mountain Horizon probably looks incredible in the VR headset, but you're not getting that from I mean, I'm glad they showed it.
Yeah.
But it's one of those things where it's like, this probably is way more incredible when you're actually wearing the damn headset than observing it on a stream, right? So
I'm not sure how I feel about disembodied hands in general.
I don't like, and I said that right. I'm like, I don't really like the Rayman hands, but
also I don't know how you don't make it look ridiculous with like stretchy arms.
There have been some games where they have like the whole arm in there, and it looks like you're constantly breaking your arm with it.
Yes,
so
that's what I want. I liked the No Man's Sky VR one. I think just because like it shows how far No Man's Sky has come.
Which I thought it already had a VR version, but I don't know.
I guess not. No.
I guess not, or maybe this is like a more updated build of it.
When I owned it, it was empty, and now apparently it has some of the best gameplay. Period. So I gotta check that out. Like a lot of people that I guess stuck with it tell me like, oh, I'm really missing out. Like now it's really full and amazing.
Now it's a game.
Yeah, I'm like, oh, great. Only fucking 8 years after I owned it.
Yeah, right.
Or I think it's only 5 years, but still, the point is like, I don't know. It was a long time. You really had to hold. All right. Just like a meme stock or something. But no, the best VR that I thought of all that, I thought the coolest looking VR was probably that Walking Dead VR game.
Oh,
that
you really like that, huh?
I sort of did, yeah. Because here's the thing: I think a zombie game in New Orleans is just a cool setting. Like that's, I mean, at least it looked like New Orleans to me. I don't know.
It was, yeah.
Okay. It's just a cool setting, and I guess all the other Walking Dead games that I've seen so far is just like point and click type.
There is a really bad first-person shooter published by Activision that came out and no one really remembers.
I don't remember that. Yeah, that's amazing. How bad when you say real bad?
I mean, you could look up the reviews, I think, but
like
yeah,
on a scale of 1 to 10, where 10 is the worst, let's make it confusing, and 1 is like it's pretty fucking good.
Probably like at least an 8.
Wow.
Yeah, apparently it's real. Apparently it was real bad.
Solidly bad. Yeah.
I gotta be honest. It's you know, a first-person zombie game is getting shown off, and I kind of zoned the fuck out, honestly.
I don't know. I mean, I dug it.
obviously there's still an audience for it, but it's like for me, I'm just kind of like, yeah, whatever.
I
Like
mean,
I think all the years of what was the game, Dying Light
yes.
2, because it kept getting eternally delayed and pushed back, and I think it was Dying Light 2, and I'm like,
Well,
man,
I thought it was ananother Dying Light.
oh, there you go.
At
Like,
first, I thought it was Dying Light VR, but I was like, yeah, but the graphics don't look right. The problem with VR for me is that it makes me sick, so I'm never gonna. None of these games are gonna be for me. So
yeah,
I want to be positive about it because like it's very easy for me to be negative about something I'm never gonna play, just because I won't enjoy it intrinsically from
hmm
motion sickness. Um, so I guess take what I'm saying with a grain of salt, knowing that like I'm not the guy, but not because I'm not interested in the games. Just like I'm getting sick doing that shit, and there's like a wobbliness that happens. Like this camera's just constantly doing this shake because your head sits there and kind of like shakes a little bit.
yeah.
That I think is what makes me sick. And like you could see a little bit of it in the trailers where I was immediately reminded, like, this is not for me.
I mean, you can always try drinking Dramamine or whatever before.
Oh yeah, yeah. No, I mean, live on the stuff if we're gonna go on boats for a long,
Yeah.
like the first couple days that we're on like boat, like to go diving or something like that. I have to use Dramamine, and then after that, I'm fine. It's only the first like day or two after I haven't been on a boat in a
Acclimation.
while. Yeah. And I don't get motion sick in planes or the front seats of cars.
So, did anything catch your eye besides the big three? Because big three is their own kind of like thing. We'll get to that. But
Well, okay. I mean, assuming I know what your big three are.
just the Resident Evil, Street Fighter, Final Fantasy, like the old big three.
Oh, okay. Well, see, my favorites aren't in any of those. Like, okay, Resident Evil, cool. I'm real happy for it. It looks amazing. I think it's hilarious that like somehow the remake numbers are RE3R was rear, and this one's rear too, but I'm gonna call it reefer. It's RE4R. I can feel you seething at that, but that's what it's gonna be called. We're calling it reefer. Everybody calls it reefer now. No, my three favorites that I made note of here is the Callisto Protocol. I feel like nobody's surprised about that. I'm down.
No longer set in the PUBG universe.
It was going to be set in the PUBG universe.
Yeah, it was not. Only like a week ago, they actually came out and said like it was, but we've decided not to. We've decided to change that.
Fucking, why was it going to? All right.
Because the publisher.
Yeah, I mean, I knew it was them, but like
franchising.
That's upsetting. That makes me less excited about it, but
it's not.
No, I know, but the idea that they were going to try and shoehorn that in makes me feel like.
Well, it was supposed to be like in the future, the far future of the PUBG universe.
Yeah, that's dumber. That's just dumber. That's like grasping.
Well, that's why they abandoned it, because they're like, this doesn't even make sense in any way, shape, or form. So
no, I don't. Just thinking about it gives me a bad taste. The Horizon 2 Forbidden West New Game Plus, pretty down.
All the DLC. There's a lot of little quality of life improvements they're adding to that stuff, like fashion souls.
Yeah,
you're able to like respec your skill trees. Wear this costume, but like have the other costume actually equipped. But like visually, stuff like that. I wish they'd fix the fucking combat in the game, but that's if you have to probably wait for the next game for that.
I didn't have a problem with the combat, so whatever. Stray is the one that keeps every time.
Stray's cool. Like everyone likes Stray. Every time I see it, I'm like, you know what? Like it doesn't. I mean, yeah, you're just a fucking cat sneaking around and delivering shit in a cyberpunk robot city. But I don't know, something about it just. I don't know. Something looks nice. I just the aesthetics, the art direction,
I'm in
everything.
Yeah, no, I'm sort of just down with it. I think another one that I was sort of shocked is fucking Roller Drome, which is just
Roller Drome was kind of my big surprise. I was like, you know what,
Borderlands Murder Ball,
Murder
like
skate. Because I'm like, oh, it's aggressive inline with, if anyone remembers what aggressive inline is, with guns.
Do you remember that old, I guess, movie Rollerball?
Yeah.
Rollerball. Wasn't it Chris fuck, I can't remember his name, but they really tried to make him like a big star, and he had the middle part. He was a fine actor, but he just never like caught on with audiences. And then like LL Cool J was in that movie too, I think.
Yeah.
Rollerball. Look, I won't lie to you. I can't think of a single time I've seen LL Cool J in a movie that I didn't like him in.
Looking at the trailer too, I'm like, wait a minute, is this multiplayer or is this PvE? Is it have maybe it's not even multiplayer at all. Like, it's actually, the trailer actually does not exactly tell you if this is a single player, multiplayer, PvE, PvP style game at all. Actually,
I think it has to be PvP arena style.
I just kind of assuming it's that, just because, but like, I don't know. It comes out in August, so not even that far away.
But yeah, I think those were my biggest ones. Tunic, I was pretty down with. I was like, hey, Tunic looks fun. It's, a Zelda clone.
Which you can play right now on Game Pass.
You can indeed, which I didn't know until this State of Play, but...
Yeah, because it's coming out in September on PlayStation. I'm like, well, it's been available for like a month plus on Game Pass, so...
and then, of course, the big three, which I have a question about, Street Fighter 6. And maybe I'm just misunderstanding. Does it look like it has an adventure mode?
Oh, it does. Oh, it do. Oh, it do. It has World Tour mode.
Okay,
it looks like fucking Shenmue.
Yeah, are you gonna get into street fights where it switches to a side view, or is it gonna be fighting in third person?
I'm guessing so, because like they literally cut it off right as you get into a fight. But there is like 1 or 2 frames of it being like that. Yeah, and it's totally a create a character dude. And you're walking around like Metro City or something, and you punch oil drums or whatever. You get into fights, and you fight random NPCs. So there's a crazy weird open city adventure mode in this game.
I sort of think that's cool as hell.
I mean, I'm actually perplexed, because I'm like, it could either be really cool or it could go really bad.
I mean, look, if it's good, it's gonna be like really good. It's gonna be like they're gonna consider it reinventing the entire genre, because you know what other game would be a cool world to explore? Fucking Mortal Kombat. Go into
Mortal Kombat does do stuff like that with like the crypt and basically the crypt and stuff. So
yeah, but you're not like open world exploring a place until you get into a fight.
That's what Shaolin Monks is really, though. Yeah. they've had conquest mode and stuff like. They've had stuff like this in MK, so it actually is similar to some. I think it was Deception or Deadly Alliance had something like this, and then they've had the crypt in a number of MK games. But you're right in a sense where it's like you're not really exploring anything. The crypt is very much just like a museum tour. Yeah. This looks a little more involved than that. This is like something closer to, I think, Conquest. I'm not an MK guy, so I'd have to like really ask Kenny about it. But I think 5 or 6 had some sort of like third-person Conquest mode. That this kind of feels like. The biggest thing that scared me was the Battle Hub, which was that little arcade thing at the end where it's in the online multiplayer part. And people have noticed that the arcades in the back have old Street Fighter game logos on them. And then in some of the screens around the Battle Hub, you can literally see tournament mode style stuff set up with other characters not announced, but like on some of the screens in like the far distance, which is whoops. Like Cammy and Guile were picked out. And there was a number of other characters like in this tournament bracket list. That someone like in the background, someone pulled out like E Honda and Dalsum and Zangief. So
Guile best character.
Well, it looks like Cammy is staying completely the same costume wise, but Guile's got a brand new costume, but it's hard to tell what's going on because it's like an image in the background on an arcade monitor. It's like
every good chef knows you don't fuck with the sauce. You change Cammy and people will protest.
Well, I'm
Bunch of perverts.
yeah, yeah, yeah. People are.
Like, I'm not
Uh,
gonna deny. If
you know
Tammy
what though?
walks by me on the street, I'm not a
I'll
saint.
say. I'm not saying.
I'm
I'll say
looking.
this: the game looks clean, though. It does, and the one thing I'm happy with is they redesigned Chun-Li and Ryu. So they're not the same exact ass-looking characters as always. I got new costumes. They look aged up a bit. I like that it's not hyper realistic like RE7. You know, it's still definitely like its own thing as far as like
Oh
animation and
yeah.
whatever, like art style
I
goes.
liked the colors
Um,
and the art style. I liked that.
yeah, like I like the Splatoon effect on some of the supers. So like it's looking nice. There's really not a lot. I mean, you could really boil down the nitty gritty. It's like yeah, you could see people doing like specials and EXs and certain stuff like that, but without seeing any of the meter or the the health bar, it's really hard to tell what it really is, what's really going on here, or how this is really working.
Or how much of
So
this is in game.
yeah, I mean, there's definitely some parts that definitely look in game, the side view stuff, kind of towards the end of the whole thing, but um, yeah, it looks fine, it looks cool, but like the weird thing is this game didn't have a release date. They like said at the end of it, they're like, mark your calendars, it comes out in 2023. I'm like, well, mark which part of the calendar, lady? Like that's a whole goddamn year to mark.
That means December.
Yeah, right. It
Means end
usually
of
when
the
they
year.
say yeah, because usually when they say that, it's usually implies not good, like that's far away. Um,
Although RE4R Reefer releases March of next year.
yeah, I like how the trailer starts with 3/24/23.
Yeah.
They're like, no, release date first, and then I mean I knew immediately because it was like there was like this shot of like a tree branch. And I'm like, oh, here it comes.
As soon as the Spanish guitar started, I was like, oh, it's remake.
Here
It's
we
for remake.
and here we go. So, I think RE4 remake will be good. I'm not super excited about it though.
I will be more excited when we see more of it. It looks like they didn't change nearly as much as I think I was expecting them to change.
Well, like some stuff definitely looked like super familiar, like the village shot. I'm like, yeah, that's the village. Hey,
Yeah.
that's Leon in a boat. Like, some stuff looked very familiar. But yeah, it definitely it's Resident Evil with the nice way to put it is like it's a spookier, scarier take on Resident Evil. And like my take is like it's Resident Evil stripped of all its charm. So we can have another serious game for serious gamers looking to have a serious time seriously.
I don't want to have fun. Why do you keep trying to make me have fun? No, I mean that is a concern. I think though this to me I'm just going to judge as its own thing.
It's its own thing, and that's probably the best way to look at it. Is like hey, just treat it as its own thing. I think okay, if I want to get nitpicky, I think the worst thing about it is the fact that how seriously they're taking it, and it starts with that like this is Commander One, baby eagles, blah blah blah. I'm like, if we're gonna take this seriously, and they confirm the location of the president's daughter in some backwoods village, like a Delta Force team would be there, and everyone would be dead within the hour.
Yeah, it's just like it starts with a single. I mean, it wouldn't even be a small Delta Force team. It'd be like a platoon of Navy SEALs. You're talking about like 30 fucking guys showing up in like armored vehicles. It'd be an operation. I mean, they sent how big of a team to kill Osama bin Laden? One dude in the suburbs in Pakistan, like fucking for the president's daughter. Feel like
I mean, there was a guy who was the captain of a cargo ship, and you remember how that ended with
yeah,
like 6+ whatever Navy snipers just sitting there waiting, ready.
they're just they're gonna send in the Army Rangers, and it's just gonna be an entire company is gonna show up and get to fucking.
Yeah, so the problem is like when if you're gonna go realistic with this, and you want to have like this this is a realistic take of Leon going to send like the minute they have confirmation of Ashley being there, I'm like, well, now you can throw reality out the window because the best of the best are going to be there within minutes, and everyone in that village will be dead.
Yeah,
like,
they're
oh, but
gonna
they're gonna have things come out of their head that those will get shot too very quickly.
yeah, like a lot. They're gonna send in the Army Rangers, and then as soon as they have Ashley and they're pulling her out, she's at a safe distance. Howitzers are just gonna be going off, and you're just gonna see this
Yeah, or a
the whole
Moab
village
is just gonna go.
just get fucking flat. I mean, can you think of what's the last American president that had any kind of subtlety? Like, the president's daughter gets kidnapped. It would be George W. Bush's terrorism speech again, where he's like, "You're either with us or you're against us," and the whole world was like, "Well, I want to be on that team."
Yeah, there would be a very big joint EU, coalition, just all zoomed in on this one Spanish countryside. Just that place would be razed to the ground very quickly.
It wouldn't even make sense, but they'd have like Task Force 12 or whatever it's called. Sergeant Price would be there. Or it's Captain Price and like Sergeant Soap and
yeah, Soap and Ghost and whatever. I'm like,
there'd be an AC-130 just flying around. Like the first sign of something wrong is like Salazar would look up and there'd be an AC-130 in the sky.
Boom.
Oh man! All right, so
it does hurt it a little bit because like it's so ridiculous and stupid, but like the original game knows this, so it plays it off like, we're in a dumb action movie. We're in a fucking 80s movie. Like,
well, if they set it up as like I mean, I know they said it in the trailer, but if they set it up that like they don't know that Ashley's there, he's just going to investigate some bullshit lead.
well, they had this weird shot of her running through the forest, like trying to escape or whatever, which sort of implies like maybe Krauser's not in the game, because in the original game, Krauser's the one who kidnaps her, like an American elite commando, and then delivers her to Sadler, and then to earn Sadler's trust. But Sadler doesn't ever trust him because he's an American. I mean, so like the idea was that it took an elite soldier to kidnap her. But like there was never this moment of her running around on her own in the forest, which we see in this little teaser. Which makes me wonder if they're trying to like change up the narrative a bit, that'd be to me, that's the more exciting part, is not to see how does this cutscene play out with these graphics, but more, what are they changing? Like, how does the narrative change altogether from it? Like,
well, one, I'm hoping that Ashley isn't like useless. I'm hoping she gets her own gameplay where she gets to do stuff.
Yeah, well, I mean that would be a fun thing, you'd be kind of a. Yeah, I mean, if you had more Ashley stuff of her being like even more survival horrors, because like again, to nitpick, this is a nitpick, but it's like if a trained U.S. agent's going in, I have confirmation, he's gonna walk around with more than a gun and one clip on him. He's Leon's probably gonna go in armed to the fucking teeth, like Barry did in Rev 2. So it would actually be kind of fun if it was like Ashley's just lost in this village and trying to get out and survive. So she's hardcore survival horror, right? She doesn't have weapons, she doesn't have access to them, and then like you switch over to Leon, who's more action oriented, and he just gets he's mowing people away, kind of thing.
He's in combat boots, just kicking indoors and shit. Under his leather jacket, he's wearing a plate carrier. He pulls a bump helmet out of nowhere and shit. He's just running through dudes. he's dumb action hero and Ashley's survival horror. And so you play less as Leon. It's more Ashley trying to escape.
I mean, people would hate that, but I'd actually be okay with it.
But every time it cuts to Leon, he's just 80s action star roundhouse kicking down hallways. You know that like ballet move? You know what? Every time it cuts to him, it's the Daredevil hallway scene from the first season. Where he just like kicks the shit out of a bunch of Russian gangsters in a hallway. It's just that every time you cut back to him. It's just you doing a quick time scene kicking the shit out of people.
That would be a take, wouldn't it?
Be amazing. It's only horrific because you're a college student. You're the president's daughter, and like you don't necessarily know what you're doing with handguns and bullshit.
Yeah.
And then every time it cuts to a dude who's like grizzled veteran, he's just like doing super knees into the head and popping heads with his knee pads and
yeah.
a machete.
thinking about all that, like, what are they not gonna have? Like, what do you think they keep, and what will they take away? I think Dr. Salvador will remain. They're gonna have a scary dude with a burlap sack and a chainsaw. That'll still be there.
I mean, Rasputin's gonna be there too.
You saw him in a shot. He has like a slightly different outfit. The shot of him in his. There's a really quick shot of him in his house.
I don't think they're gonna change much of the first two areas.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I doubt. I highly doubt there's even going to be an island.
Yeah, if they're going to cut anything, it's going to be the island.
Yeah, I'm expecting that to just not be there. There will be no robot statue that chases you. There will be no lava room.
Well, that's too bad.
Like, I'm just saying, like, anything like super wacky is probably just not going to happen, unfortunately.
Well,
like,
I mean, RE4, part of the reason it was so great, we often say, is because it's wacky. But, like, how did this random small cult, they built, there's islands off the coast of Spain that are big enough to house a military base and a factory, but nobody's been there.
or just notice this in general.
It's just like right across the way is Ibiza, and everybody's just like partying and relaxing on the beach. And if they look just a little bit to their left, oh yeah, there's a crazy military base run by some cult over there. Huh.
Yeah.
Anyway, back to partying, I guess. Yeah. No, that is sort of funny. I think that's probably the big thing that's going to be cut. Krauser seems like
it doesn't look like Krauser's showing, because he was really just a character on the island for the most part, which means no laser room dodge sequence, which means no sitting in the throne like looking cool for no goddamn good reason.
No Wesker scene.
Probably no Wesker period, honestly.
Probably. You think they're gonna cut the Castellan or
Salazar?
Yeah, do you think they're gonna cut Salazar? Or you think
man, because he is the castle. I mean, he'll probably be in it, but he'll just be like this. Because I mean, you heard Sadler's voice in the trailer,
I think
and
they're
it's
gonna replace Sadler into the castle as the.
Yeah, that's probably a very good point.
Roman Salazar is gonna be gone.
Yeah, Ramon Salazar. Like, you hear Lewis's new voice, and you hear like Salazar's new voice, or sorry, Sadler's new voice in the trailer, and like Sadler is. I think the actor's doing a good job. He's doing the role he was paid and hired to do. Fuck, I don't like it. Like, not the actor. I just don't like the direction. You know, because it's very like on point. It's very serious. It's very like I will give you access. I'll give you access to. You will see what our cult is capable of. Blah 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 blah. Fuck all this. Like, fuck off. Like, is the merchant gonna be in it? Because I feel like that's the big one. Like, if we take away the merchant, like,
I don't know. There's a merchant in RE8.
There is, but it ain't anywhere near as memorable or as fun as the weird, RE4 merchant. But like, yeah, I miss. Yeah, exactly. I like that whole first scene with Sadler, where he's just like, believe it or not, it takes quite a lot of money, to keep this church operational. Like, like this whole like, let us give you our power. It's just cheese layered on cheese on cheese,
definitely.
and it's just like, it's glorious. And it's all gonna go away apparently with this. So it's like, so we can have our
you personally.
So we could have our dark and serious. What really just gets me mad is just that it's not Code Veronica. Like, this would be such a better use of time and resources to do this with Code Veronica, a game that always wanted to be taken seriously and had a creepy atmosphere, a creepy setup, and could have easily worked as a full remake. But it's not RE4.
Well, and
it doesn't.
Code Veronica takes place on Rockford Island, right?
Yeah, and Antarctica.
Yeah, Rockford Island to me is one of the coolest places in universe. Like, it's a private island that was used for training Umbrella mercenaries and testing weapons.
Yeah,
that is a cool fucking setting. I
would
love
to
see that.
And you have a really twisted set of twins that live there and run the place and stuff. So I mean, it's really more to me. It's more of just a bummer that I'm like, man. Because like, it's not like it's does the atmosphere look bad? No, it looks fantastic actually. The graphics and the atmosphere for this game look fantastic, but it's
yeah.
also, man, do I wish it was Rockfort. You know, like I wish I was doing this in Code Veronica.
Are they going to cut out El Gigante?
Ooh.
I think they're going to cut out El Gigante.
Good question. Well, it looks like Del Lago's still going to be in it because he's in that boat, like knocked out.
Right.
No, I think they'll keep him in just because it's maybe too iconic for Resident Evil.
They got to have the cabin sequence.
That'll probably still be in there. The Lewis will not make any comment about Ashley's tits. Because they already cut that out of they already cut that out of the VR version of RE4.
Be brave.
It's funny how people get upset about it. Oh my god, it's censorship. I'm like, yeah, that's important to the game's plot. Lewis creeping on Ashley, great. You know, whatever.
I think it's funny.
I don't think it adds or detracts or whatever. It's just, to me, it's like it's not worth getting upset about. But it's just kind of like, yeah, they're not going to do that. Like, yeah, it's. I think Krauser's out. Salazar's good chance he's out. Mendez is in the game, as we can see, and it's probably just going to be Sadler and Mendez.
They're also the both iconic looking characters from RE4. Like,
Salazar's iconic.
I mean, so's Rasputin though.
Yeah.
In the original RE4 ads, like they made it look like he was a much bigger villain than
he was. Yeah. But he's still in the game from we see him in one shot in the trailer. So
second boss. Right, because
he's the big bad of the village area. Like each area has its own big bad, which is Mendez in the village, Salazar in the castle, and Sadler on the island. But like also Krauser in the island as well. Krauser's like halfway through the island.
Every area also has their like little bad too, where it's like the village has the chainsaw guy the first time you run into him.
Yeah, you can kind of look at it as definitely as like in the Preda alien in the castle,
and then Krauser and Sadler.
Yeah, in the island, and it's he just shows up and you just find him. He's just a boss. Yeah. It's like El Gigante, I guess, but I know it won't be in there. There won't be any minecart chase sequence.
It's going to be a shorter game for sure, too.
Oh, yeah. No minecart stuff, I'm going to guess. I'm trying to think of all the other weird shit that happens. So much shit happens in that game, it's incredible. I doubt the bugs will be there, the Novistadors. I kind of hope they are, though. I'd love to see what a modern-day graphics Novistador is going to would look like, the little cloaking bugs.
Yeah.
But I could definitely see that being something that just kind of gets cut because they don't have a good place for it anymore, maybe. It's supposed to be in the sewers, but it's like, yeah, I don't know. If Salazar, I don't know. It's hard to say. It's hard because all we have is a little teaser and it's coming out in March.
I wonder if the Wolverine character is going to be in it.
Yeah, Verdugo's. It has to be. They're iconic and they're not that fucking crazy. I think the Preda aliens are probably gone.
Yeah, they didn't even make sense in the original.
Nothing did. It wasn't.
Yeah, no, but I mean, like, you know what I mean? Like, out of nowhere, all of a sudden, it's also like, here's this crazy ass monster thing that has nothing to do with what was it called? U19 or?
Oh, it. Yeah, it.
Yeah,
he has his name is like U239 or something like that. I don't remember. Yeah.
And you're in the hanging containers because it's so dangerous.
That's why. Yeah, it won't make it back, and he has like a big old pincer come out of his back.
Yeah, it just makes no sense because it's like
it. Why don't I introduce you to it? It should keep you busy. Can't remember the name. Senior moment, perhaps. Like none of that. We're not gonna get any of that. We're just not gonna get it. We're not gonna have fun in this game. Game is gonna be zero fucking fun. All serious all the time.
I never realized how much Sadler is just a Raul Julia impersonator.
Yes.
Would have been kind of amazing. All right.
The American prevailing. It's a cliche that only happens in your Hollywood movies, Mr. Kennedy.
truly, truly, it is actually Raul Julia. I never thought about that. We should spend some time talking about Final Fantasy 16.
We should, and that's actually my most anticipated thing I saw. Actually,
No shit.
Absolutely, yeah. It's doing what I want. I don't know if I can find it anymore.
I was legit when I saw it. I was just kind of like, oh, this is what I wanted from like Final Fantasy 15 was like a road trip broy thing, and I was kind of like, I don't understand why this is Final Fantasy. This 16. I was like, oh shit, yes, this is Final Fantasy. Bahamut and Ifrit and fucking Odin.
Yes.
Like I was like, oh, I wonder if Knights of the Round is going to be in there. But still, like I was also sort of like, this is what I wanted from Final Fantasy.
Yeah, it's exactly what. Yeah. So they put out a tweet, and I just tweeted it to you. Which they basically it's like, hey, here's a development tab. Here's an introduction to the team behind it. Yoshi P, the producer, the guy who turned 14 around, the guy who literally saved 14. His producer, main director, is the guy who directed Heavensward, like one of the most beloved expansions to 14. You have original screenplay, creative director is the guy who wrote 14, 12, and Last Remnant. 12's supposed to be pretty good. It's definitely not the
12, yeah.
Well, it's not the usual crowd of yahoos that write this shit. They have a localization director, which was nice to see, although I'm not sure why they put Dirge of Cerberus on his resume. Art director is the guy from 12 and Tactics and 14, obviously, because it's evilous as fuck, but not evilous. Here's the best part, is the combat director, Ryota Suzuki. Devil May Cry 5, Dragon's Dogma, Marvel vs. Capcom 2, all published by Capcom.
Wow.
This little character designer from 11 and 14 and 10. Not Nomura, it's Kazuya Takahashi. And then composer is Soken, who's been doing Final Fantasy 14 music. He's the guy who got cancer and was, while in the hospital for cancer treatment, was still composing.
Well, yeah, he couldn't let Mario Hoops 3-on-3 not get composed music.
Well, no, this was for 14, but that is funny. Everyone kind of noticed that. We're like, Mario Hoops. I'm like, yeah, Square made a Mario Hoops game. You got to start somewhere, right?
Well,
so
I didn't realize. Wait, so is this supposed to be all titles that they made for Square?
No, just past titles they worked on.
Okay, because I was gonna say like none of those Capcom games were made by Square. Mario Hoops 3-on-3 was made by Square though.
Yep. Yes, indeed.
That's amazing.
It's a little DS game, 3DS. I don't know, whatever. One of the two, but yeah. Anyways, yeah. The
that's cool as hell.
So the thing I noticed from the combat, I'm like, there's no party members in this game. You're just one dude, and you flip between stances you change the summon that you have, and that changes your moves. So with the L2, you cycle through like your stance switching as Dante or something, or switching arms as Nero. And then you have different move sets, and then you hold R2 to do different moves for that specific summon. And yeah, I'm like looking at everything about this. I'm like, yes. Also, did you notice how fucking violent this game was in the trailer?
Yes. Yeah, it looks insane. I also noticed that at the end they seemed to tease that Ifrit was what the villain was after.
Yeah, like he's like he wants to awaken you, the main player, like the Ifrit.
Yeah.
So I'm like, this is what I want. I mean, I'm a little bummed that it's a year away, but it looks good, as is. So,
yeah, no, I genuinely I was expecting to shit all over it. I was actually like, I was initially planning to try and shit on that game. I will admit that, and instead I was just delightfully surprised. I sort of find it weird in, I guess it's like Japanese animation in general, but like, have you ever noticed even their older characters are just young men with gray hair?
Yes.
I don't know why I was noticing that so heavily, but like the king and queen were just hot people with gray hair.
Yep.
I was like, why aren't they so?
Well, I mean, it's like I'd say it's just good Asian genetics in general. They look good until one day you wake up and then they're
dead.
Yoda.
They're just dead. Also, did you notice the Squall knockoff character?
The main character at the end, or
He looks like Squall. He looks a little bit like Squall, like a little like an updated version of Squall. Not saying that it is Squall. I'm just saying. Like,
you mean you're talking about the guy after the logo shown, right?
Yeah.
Like the main character with like the weird tattoo on his face.
Yeah.
Yeah, he looks like like a grizzled older one, I guess.
Right?
But yeah, I was just kind of like the thing that shocked me was this is a very violent game. We see people's like, we see arms. There's a part where one of the summons blows the arm off of Ifrit or one of the other summons, and it's all bloody and chunky. And then on the battlefield, you see guys just swinging axes and blood just splurting all over shit. There's a scene of two people fucking in bed. Well, not really fucking. They're just like laying and they're just talking in bed naked as fuck. Like it's Game of Thrones. Yeah, I guess you could say. I wouldn't say that's actually mean to anything now.
Yeah. But, what are you trying to say, that the ending's gonna suck?
Well, let's just put it this way. It feels a little more. I don't want to. I don't want to say grown up, but like grittier.
Mature.
It just feels grittier. Like they're leaning heavy into like gritty fantasy aesthetic. But for me, it's all about the fact that like this looks like a Devil May Cry game. Like it looks like it plays like a character action game, and that's because they have a character action director, combat designer doing the combat direction.
Yeah,
so
that's pretty cool.
That was actually my biggest, I'm most excited about, and it's the farthest away. But most excited about Final Fantasy 16 personally.
Yeah, I mean, I would love it if they had like a gore filter. Or chopping
turn it off.
No, to like turn on more gore.
Oh, more
like
gore. Oh,
dismembering motherfuckers.
I mean, I think that might actually just happen in the game.
That would be cool. I didn't see that in the trailer, but
there isn't. Well, the only part where I definitely see it happen is someone like gets their arm, like when the summons are fighting, one of the summons blows the arm off the other summon, and I was like, well, dang. so
yeah, I'm pretty jazzed for it.
Yeah, it's looking very nice. And again, I think that's why the Final Fantasy producer retired this week when he did. Because again, I think this is the best place the series has been in a very long time. So I think he's like, everything's looking good. I'm been here for 30 years. I'm retiring. So
I'm done. This is my goodbye.
Well, I mean, it's like Final Fantasy feels like it's been digging itself out of a hole for like 20 years now. Or at least 15. So
what, since 11?
Yeah, since after 11. I mean, 12 was well received, but it got delayed heavily. The original director had a mental breakdown in development. So it took a while to come out. Came out in 2006.
Well, 10 and 10-2 were liked, weren't they? Wasn't it? 10,
yeah.
10 and 10-2 were liked.
Yep, they definitely were. 12 is liked too. It's just that it took, it had development issues getting out the door. And then everything after that's been like a disaster. 13 nobody likes. Well, some people like, but 13 not well received. 14 was complete trash on its release. Had to be remade, like right after it came out.
Liked.
Now it's very well liked. 15 is its own story of 10 years of hell in development. And so it's like Final Fantasy's not had a very good win. Has not had a big win for itself till like a remake came out. Although 15 over time sold very, very well. And I think people, here's the real thing. Why did so many people buy 15? It feels like it was kind of polarized. I'm like, I think because it's real time. I honestly do. People are more casually inclined to pick up a game where they can just press a button and watch shit happen, right? And if I'm gonna get, if you're a turn-based fan, there's gonna be turn-based RPGs by Square, but I think Final Fantasy's done with turn-based at this point.
I think turn-based is sort of just dying out, right?
Yeah, like, well, you have like you have smaller projects and indie projects that keep the flame going, and Pokemon still technically is turn-based, but at the end of the day, though, like it's way easier to just jump into it. Yeah, I mean, I like strategy personally, like the whole like big long chess game.
Yeah, I like that. Turn-based RPGs are rough for me. Combat takes too goddamn long most of the time.
Takes too goddamn long, right? That's really it, man. It's just shit takes too long. Although it's funny looking back on it now, how it's like the last remnant people, like this often forgotten 360 RPG, Xbox 360 RPG that never came out anywhere else. I think PC. They somehow now are the ones kind of leading the charge on Final Fantasy. Ah.
I'll take it.
Humble beginnings, but it's also good, I think, to not just keep having the same people do Final Fantasy after Final Fantasy after Final Fantasy. I think it's good to like switch it up, get new blood in there, get a fresh perspective on stuff. Because
they should be doing that between every Final Fantasy should be, in my opinion, vastly different than the last. Like it should be.
And a lot of them, and they usually are. That's kind of the strength of the brand, is that each Final Fantasy is like a unique experience. And
it used to be. Did you have any ones that you saw and you were just kind of like bleh?
Game wise?
Yeah, we're getting to the end of the episode, and I was wondering if there was anything you were just kind of like, meh.
I actually saw the tweets from the director of the game, and I almost feel bad about shitting on this now, but Jesus H. Christ, that game, that one game,
Evernights?
Evernight?
Eternights.
Eternights.
Yeah.
Woof. God damn it. Let me see if I can, because
so the combat looked kind of cool. He replaces his arm.
It didn't look terrible. It looked like 16 kind of came and stole its lunch as far as like how combat looks.
Yeah, but that's not fair.
It is. It's not, because it's a pretty small indie thing or whatever. Let me see if I can find the statement from the guy, because it's like, man, I don't want to feel bad about this, but
well, I'm not trying to encourage us to shit on it. I'm just wondering what if the scale is like, oh, this was fucking great, and here's the top games. I want to know what the bottom games were. I'm not even saying in a bad way. Like, one of the things, the VR games for me are just like, personally, they're going to be bottom of the list because I can't play them. Even though I'm excited about that Walking Dead one. I would like a non-VR version of that Walking Dead game.
Yeah, so this guy, Studio Side Games, today a big announcement we revealed Eternights during Sony State. It's like I played Persona 5 in 2019, which convinced me to play Persona 4 Golden and Persona 3 FES as well. After that, I quit my job and started developing a game inspired by them.
You know what? I see the inspiration.
Yep.
Because when I first saw it coming up, I thought it was going to be another Persona. It's just not in that style. Like, it has Persona vibes. For sure.
Yeah, and then like the artist chimed in. It's super proud to have worked on Eternights illustration. This is Lucid Sky on Twitter. Action RPG dating game where yes, you can romance everyone in the splash art. Thank you so much, Studio Sai. Again, which makes me feel bad because I'm like, I don't really want to shit on the game too hard, but like I did kind of roll my eyes at some shit.
Well, I just like romance, like the dating sim parts. I'm always kind of like, that's hilariously annoying.
Well, you've got this requires some context, which you probably might not understand. It's cool that they actually have animated cutscenes, like hand animated cutscenes, which is neat.
Yeah.
But there's these shots in the trailers, and you can see them really briefly, where they cut to like really hyper detailed, drawn illustrations, and I remember being in Akihabara in Japan, and I went into this one store that it's a gaming store, and it had like more games on the second floor. So I go up there and I see, first thing I see is like a Crazy Taxi 3 for the PC, which I didn't know there was a Crazy Taxi 3 port on PC. And I was like, oh man, Max would love this. And I think, how much is it? And I see it's $90. And I'm like, okay, I don't love Max that much.
You said it's $90?
Yes. So I'm like, okay, well, let me just, my wallet can't love anyone that much. Well, maybe someone, but not Max. But anyways, point is, I was like, okay,
Max
can't
never
afford
giving you a blowjob, so you're just like, I can't.
I bought him a $40 Bloodborne t-shirt. Anyways.
And he didn't touch your dick for that?
So, anyways, while I'm up here in this PC gaming sector of the store, I'm thinking, wow, PC games, in Japan, I heard they're not really big on that. It's kind of like, I don't know, like if you could imagine this in a movie, like you're sitting here and you're looking at this one box, like, oh, crazy, I can't afford that. And then you put the box back, and then you look around, and then you suddenly notice every other game in this section is a porno. Well,
Yeah.
or I should say, is a hentai game. And the back of all of them all have these hyper detailed drawings, and they're all dating sims. And they all have like these super immaculately high detailed drawn images, like cut scenes, if you will, on the back. And all I could get while watching this trailer with like the shit, because they have some of those shots where like the chick's like kissing the guy, and like the one chick's like sleeping at her desk. And so I'm like, what the fuck? This looks. And then there's that shot of the guy on the train with his hands a tentacle, and it's like wagging in front of the girl, and she's ew, girls. I'm like, fuck. Look, man, you got to do what you love, but my eyes are on the back of my skull.
I mean,
at certain parts of this trailer.
Well, now I just hope that there's plenty of fucking.
Well, they had the lewdest thing ever, where they had the button to hold hands.
Oh yeah, that's cute. That's cute.
Which I was like, oh, so my God, so lewd. Hold R2 to hold hands.
Thing is look, hey,
disgusting.
There's gonna be haptic feedback. It's like the game's holding hands with you back.
Oh my God, haptic feedback. I didn't even think about that.
Here's the thing: I don't have like if you enjoy dating sims, I sort of think that's cute as hell. They're just not for me. I don't really have a great time with them. Love dating. Loved that shit. Going on dates with my wife. Love that.
If this is what you enjoy, and this is what the director enjoys,
yeah,
all
what about it? Get after it.
All for it. Go for it, man. I'm not someone who's ever going to say like this is filth and we should not allow this to be. No, like if people want to make a game like this, go make a game like this. But when you ask me like, hey, was there anything that didn't look good, or like you were like not impressed? I'm like, well, Eternites was kind of cringy as fuck.
Yeah, it's personal opinion. I'm not, what did you think of Season? Last thing before we get out of here. What did you think of Season? Because I'm sort of.
Oh my God, you know what it is? It's fucking it's indie. It's the new trend in gaming, where someone who's been in the industry for a long time quits the high-profile publisher, goes and makes an indie game that's basically a weird midlife crisis walking sim. Because we've moved past the sad dad phase. We had the sad dad phase where all these big AAA writers and directors were writing basically like games that were more or less an extension of the guilt they felt by being an absentee parent for working all like impossible crunch hours while their children grew up like without them. So you had the sad dad era. Now we've moved past that, or the kids are probably older, maybe teens, or maybe even graduating high school. So now we're doing these midlife crisis walking sim, contemplating the nature of existence, and
it's climate change Pokemon Snap.
Bummer, alt rock, like, slow rock, like, I'm watching the seasons go by. I'm recording the sounds of nature. I'm wondering why we're here. What can we do for the future?
Yeah, you know what that character reminds me of? It's like the manic pixie dream girl in movies, but if you knew that person in person, you would hate them. Because like in movies and games, you're like, wow, how interesting. But if you had to deal with them all the time, you'd be like, you're fucking exhausting. Just chill the fuck out for a little bit.
So yeah, and again, I don't want to shit on seasons. It's a trend. It's definitely a trend, especially in indie gaming, that I've noticed. And I'm just kind of, again, tales from my ass. I'm like, this is just like people having midlife crisis in game development. They need to go and make an existential walking sim to sort of find themselves or whatever, and then make money off it.
So I guess the question for people in the comments on YouTube or tweeting at us this time is going to be most anticipated game from the state of play and least anticipated game. What do you love?
Yeah, most and least anticipated.
That's it. Just the number 1 and the number 10.
And you can't put Tunic because it's already out on other things. You can't say I'm not anticipating Tunic at all because I already can play it. I'm like, no, doesn't count.
Yeah, no, you just play along, I guess. Don't
Play
get,
along,
don't
play
get
the game
pedantic.
right. Come on now, come on, no technicalities.
All right, as always, we've got some producers to thank. If you're interested in becoming a patron at any level, please check out patreon.com/YoVideogames podcast. Dude of the week was Jamester. Thank you, Jamester. And our producers for this episode are The Arnett, Screwnomi, Top 35, Hyper Viper 89, Ziggy Z, and Online Persona. Thank you, dudes, and we will catch you next time.
Later, dudes.